So what are your thoughts on like acquiring a business, specifically a franchise, and kind of like how did that play into your strategy?
Sure. So out of our 8 stores, we bought most of them. We built only 3 out of 8, and we bought 5. And there's a good and bad thing to like both, right? Building or buying. Like if I build it, I've got hope, right? Like I hope that this turns out to be a killer location. And in fact, our 2 locations that we built, killer locations. We did a lot of homework. I'm incredibly proud. Um, there's a chance that you put the location in the exact spot and you do really well. But it's really, there's hope involved when I build. When I buy, it's like I kind of know what I'm getting. And what that means is that I can look at the profits of the past, the revenue of the past, and I could presume as long as I don't, screw anything up, I can probably make that amount of money. But there's not a lot of hope involved in buying, because if the business is doing $1 million, the odds of it doing 2 million are kind of slim, unless you've got a really good game plan as to how you get to the 2. But like typically, if it did 1 million for the other folks, assume it's going to do 1 million for you. And so there's not a lot of hope involved. And so what I mean by that is like, you might buy a business and be like, man, it would be great if I was on this part of town instead of this part of town. Well, guess what? You can't go to that part of town because the business you bought is on this part of town. But if I'm building, I could say, it'd be great to put it on that part of town, and you put it on that part of town, right? So the challenge to buying is like you're kind of stuck in your location. You do have the flexibility of turning over your people, like you could bring in new people, but like, that's got its own risks, right? So what I love about buying is like, I'm much more comfortable taking on leverage if I'm buying, because now I know with pretty good certainty how much revenue is going to be coming in, and I can plan accordingly. And a lot of banks would much rather loan to an existing business than a startup business. But you're stuck with whatever location you got, and whatever price that business owner is willing to pay, to charge, that becomes your cost of capital, your cost of getting in. And maybe they want a bigger number than what it's worth, right? So, there's pros and cons to both. We've done a little bit of both.